Well, good evening once again. Day 181 of the Biden administration, now facing mounting fears that this Delta variant, with a big assist from the anti-vax movement in our country, is pushing our country in exactly the wrong direction. In fact, it was anxiety about yet another wave of the illness that hammered the stock market today. The Dow closed down over 700 points, worst one-day decline thus far this year. At one point, the market was off nearly 900. The biggest concern today was the potential the virus has to once again derail the recovery.
Anything that adds to the uncertainty about the pace of reopening and the pace of growth is the type of thing that can unmoor the stock market.
Now, the rapid rise in daily cases has prompted the American Association of Pediatrics to issue new guidance ahead of the coming school year. The doctors advise, quote, all students older than 2 years and all school staff should wear face masks at school. On the vaccine front, the administration's campaign has largely stalled. About 500,000 shots are now being given out every day. That is down from more than 3.3 million at our peak. While the CDC describes the current surge as a pandemic of the unvaccinated, there's growing concern about vaccinated people getting the virus nonetheless, so-called breakthrough cases. Florida Republican Congressman Vern Buchanan revealed today he's tested positive for the virus after being fully vaccinated. Kara Eaker, an alternate on the U.S. women's gymnastics team, also tested positive for the virus just days before the Tokyo Olympics. Her coach said she was vaccinated 2 months ago. Dr. Fauci says even if someone is infected after a vaccination, they are still much more likely to avoid serious illness.
The vaccine still protects you against infection, but not completely. You are very highly protected against severe disease if you're vaccinated, whereas if you're unvaccinated, then you have a reasonable chance of getting into trouble.
Philip, I'd like to begin with you and your beat. This new virus surge. Let's take the political consequences, the disappointment aspect of it, out of the conversation and dwell.
Certainly, Brian, and we've seen the Biden administration and the health officials throughout the government speak with increasing urgency in recent weeks about what the CDC is calling the pandemic of the unvaccinated. The fact that so many Americans, tens of millions of Americans, many of them in red Republican-leaning states, unwilling to be vaccinated, in part because of misinformation that's been spreading on social media and in conservative media. This is a growing, urgent concern for leaders in Washington. They feel that the infection rates and further complications from California to the East Coast could be continuing to rise as people resist the vaccines. And so I think we're going to see in the coming days the president, as well as others in the administration, step forward with increasing pleas to get people vaccinated, get the shots, and try to push past this as the Delta variant becomes a really severe threat to the country.
AB, let's talk politics. I brought something for you. Here is Ari Fleischer on Fox News tonight. We'll discuss on the other side.
He thinks he's FDR Jr., licensed to go on a massive $1 trillion spending spree. And he's not. That was not what the 2020 election was about. And he's out of sync with where the American people are.
So, AB, tomorrow marks 6 months since the inauguration of Joe Biden, and one is tempted to ask, hearing that, how the effort to arrive at an attack line against Biden is faring these days on the Republican side.
Well, Brian, we have watched both parties get concerned about deficits when they are not in power. But President Trump was the first Republican leader to completely abandon any kind of fealty to small government principles, debt reduction, limited spending, et cetera. And so the party largely gave up on it, watching the voters who supported Donald Trump give up on it. That's what the Biden administration is betting on, that a lot of the spending on infrastructure and other programs, the vaccination distribution, the child tax credit, all the things they've done in their first 3 and 6 months are not only popular in their party, in the Democratic Party, but with some of the Republicans in the Trump coalition as well. So you will see, especially among those, not Ari Fleischer, but several senators positioning themselves to hopefully run for president in 2024 if Donald Trump does not. A lot of talk about spiraling debt and spending binges by the Democrats and their socialist programs, no matter what passes and the final price tag of the reconciliation and infrastructure bills. You can count on it.